Welcome back to Marquette Now. I'm Kaylee Starl.
And I'm Rashad Alexander. Marquette Wire Executive News Editor Megan Wooler joins us now for tonight's edition of Down to the Wire.
She's with Executive Sports Editor John Liuzzi to talk about the former Marquette basketball player Lazar Hayward Jr.'s arrest. Megan?
Hey John, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me, Megan.
So you wrote an article that was on the front page of the Tribune this week about the arrest of a former Marquette basketball player, as Kaylee just told us. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So former Marquette men's basketball forward and NBA player Lazar Hayward was arrested in Hawaii on his trip to Hawaii from Los Angeles last week for uploading falsified COVID-19 documentation. And this is going to Hawaii. There's obviously a lot of protocols for COVID, and he didn't follow them. So he was arrested once he landed after traveling from LAX to Kauai via American Airlines.
Yeah, so since he was arrested for violating these COVID protocols, do you want to sort of give us a little bit more background on what the current COVID protocols are for Hawaii travelers?
Yeah. After talking with an official from the Kauai airport, along with a news reporter on the island, for unvaccinated travelers, there is two options for them to upload to the state's safe travel portal. They can either take a COVID-19 test 72 hours prior to their departure and arrival, or quarantine 10 days prior to their departure. And he obviously opted to go with the COVID test, and he uploaded a fake COVID test, a negative COVID test, in fact. So that's what really was flagged in the system once he landed on the plane.
So you mentioned that this story kind of broke Monday.
Yep.
Sort of. How did you kind of go about getting the information to write that story and, get that to cover?
Yeah, so obviously right away I would try to find some sources and some contacts out in Hawaii, and I just called the airport and spoke to a visitor information director over there, and then I also spoke to a news reporter from Hawaii News Now, the first news station that actually broke the news in Hawaii last week. So I was able to talk to those, confirm it, and I also was able to receive the press release from the Kauai Police Department.
Yeah, so is this for just Kauai or just all the islands in general? Is that these COVID protocols are for?
So it's for the entire state of Hawaii, and this has been something that the island has been very strict of for outstate of tourists, and obviously there's tens of thousands of tourists who travel to Hawaii for vacation each day. So they're trying to be very strict and try to keep the island safe as possible with COVID numbers spiking, and one way is trying to hope that athletes like Lazar Hayward use their integrity, and even just people in general, citizens of the country, use their integrity and follow in the justice of just being safe in public.
Yeah. Do you have a current update with us as where the situation is?
For sure. So Lazar Hayward was released after the investigation through the Attorney General's office, along with the Kauai Police Department, pending an investigation, and he actually was brought right back to the airport and had to take a direct flight back to LAX, which I found out he actually had to pay for himself. That's one of the punishment causes, fees, and there is a pending court date. No date has been set, but one in the near future.
Thank you, John. That's all the time that we do have for tonight. I'll throw it back to Kaylee and Rashad in the studio.